Good evening and welcome to another edition of Rebelwatch. I'm your host Cameron Hass, and alongside me is NewsWatch sports anchor Jayson Kern and sports reporter Graeme Farrell. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about tonight. The Ole Miss basketball team season is officially started this past week. The NFL season is midway through, but starting things off with the Ole Miss football team, they have a huge matchup this weekend, facing Georgia, obviously. But they're coming off a pretty, obviously, good win, but it ended up getting pretty dramatic there towards the end. What did y'all think about the matchup?
A win's a win. In SEC play, it's hard to win a game. So when you look at it, A&M's full of 5 stars. They were 5-3 going into the game. People didn't really. It's like, oh, it's just another A&M team. This was a good team, and yeah, we were up by 14 at one point, and the defense kind of let up. But it's not really something to stress about. But when you look at Georgia's coming up, we got to sharpen up a lot of stuff. But it's a good team when the offense was flowing. Trey Harris looked great. He had 213 receiving yards. Judkins 3 touchdowns. Dart looked flawless. If we can just figure out what's going, the O-line and D-line, because there's some big bodies in that Georgia O-line and D-line. So if we can not compete with them, but find some schemes to try and figure out how to stop their defense and get through their offensive line, then it should be a super interesting matchup coming up.
Yeah, it might have not been a ranked team, but even Lane Kiffin said that this was a top 5 defense in college football. I just want to give flowers to. We praise them, but I don't feel like we praise them enough for what we did. Jackson Dart, in the spring, we had other quarterbacks. We didn't know what was going to happen with that quarterback room. And I just want to say this guy is a true competitor. He has led our team back so many times from deficits, and he knows how to play ball. He knows how to get it done, and he's just one of those guys that we love having on our team. And he's going to be the main focal point when it goes to Georgia. The offensive line is going to be the main thing. They're going to have to go back-to-back weeks, just protecting him, giving him time, because as we saw with Missouri and Georgia, Brady Cook was able to run a little bit, and we're going to need that, especially against these linebackers that they're able to, put up against our running backs. We're going to have to break out the pocket.
And our defense has big names, like John Saunders with a huge red zone interception to turn the ball over. Xavier Harris, a huge block kick, 4 tackles. We have big name players. Perkins, he needs to step up. He needs to have a career day on Saturday, because that defensive line, if we can get pressure to Carson Beck, I think we're in perfect shape, because it's all going to come down to Carson Beck. I'm not worried about our offense not being able to put up points against Georgia. I feel like Dart can kind of game manage a little bit, but I need Pete Golding to get with this group and figure out that D-line, just put some pressure on, figure out some schemes, like I said before. And I want to see John Saunders and Xavier Harris, all those guys just come together, play as a good group, and just trust each other. And I'm just really excited. I'm kind of anxious. I'm just super anxious.
Yeah, it is a little bit nerve-wracking, but looking at the Georgia-Missouri game, that was pretty interesting too. Things were closer. I mean, Georgia obviously pulled it off, things together there towards the end, but that was a fairly hyped-up matchup too. But Missouri played them close. Does that obviously give Ole Miss hope, considering that we're considered a better team than Missouri?
Yeah, I would say Missouri gave them their all. They went down swinging. They did everything they could. The one thing about Georgia, back-to-back national champions, they're not going to beat themselves, and they're not going to make those penalties that put them in bad situations. They play disciplined football, and that's what you saw here. And with Carson Beck, this is one of those guys that you just first-year quarterback, same as Joe Milton, Jalen Monroe. You really haven't seen him slip yet, so it's been interesting. He's been great so far, and he played very, very well in that game. So I'm going to see how, Pete Golding tries to, confuse him with the blitzes, because, Pete loves the blitz. It's going to be one of the main factors in this game coming up. And
something I also want to look at, we're playing with house money. Go out there, have some fun. We also, looking ahead, we play ULM. They have to go to Knoxville the week after and play at Tennessee. So not only do they have to worry about us, but they have to think about what they're going to do next week when they go to a loud Neyland Stadium. We're sitting in a kind of a decent spot. But again, it's Georgia, back-to-back championships, like you just said. Focus on the game. This is, I don't want to say it, but this is our Super Bowl. Georgia is under pressure because not only were they down against Missouri, but they were down against Auburn. They were down against Vandy. They've been down in games, and they come back. if they can get down against us and we continue to put pressure on, I see it being a back and forth game. I don't see it being a high scoring game. I think it's gonna be like a 28-24 kind of game, and if you were to tell me we're gonna go 8-1 into this game, sign me up. Sign me up.
I'm ecstatic,
Yeah.
ecstatic. And the thing is with this, it's not just the game and what this season what it can do. It's also the other factors such as recruiting. Like this is our chance to go into that tier 1, and for like Lane to make a huge hit, like to say, hey, we're in this era of college football. We are here with NIL and transfer portal. This is our time to make a statement. So.
Yeah, and Lane definitely loves being the underdog in a matchup, which we haven't been in quite some time, so it should be interesting to see how everything plays out. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about other news going on in college football.
It's that time of the year again, fellas. When the mornings are hot, the afternoons are hotter, and football is on its way back. Now, games is won by the battles fought in August. Everyone that's not revered as an Ole Miss legend has been in your shoes before, trying to survive that Mississippi heat, competing for a spot, and knowing the sacrifice that it takes to make it in this league. You go into this money collection of men from 100 different places, and if you work, you emerge from it as one team with one goal and one heartbeat. The SEC awaits you. And if they don't know who you are now, they will soon.
Where are we gonna go?
Someplace warm. A place where the beer flows like wine. Where beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called
Oxford, Mississippi.
To see it is to believe it. You hear about it, but you just have to see the party.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grove. The sound and fury are here. Did he got a toe down?
Pageantry, the pride, the pomp is unmatched and unrivaled.
This stadium has come unhinged.
This is what college football is all about.
Oh, as he gets walloped.
No coach is having more fun than Lane Kiffin.
This is the place to be in college football right now.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. We're now heading towards the end of the regular season for college football, so there's definitely some interesting matchups. Obviously, we talked about Ole Miss and Georgia, but another big one this week is going to be that Penn State-Michigan matchup. What are you guys kind of expecting to come out of it?
You know, this is going to be Michigan's first real test, you know, classic Big Ten matchup, but it's in Happy Valley, so that's always going to play a factor. Projected -5.5. I think it's just going to be, main thing is that for Penn State, they're going to have to play defensively amazing. They're going to have to get pressure on J.J. McCarthy and stop the run with Blake Corn, because last year, this has been a big thing. It's been all over their locker room. 418 yards, that's how much Michigan ran on them last year. We're going to have to see Penn State try to get Drew Aller protection, because he's actually one of the best quarterbacks in the country when he has a clean pocket. He has 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, completing at an 89% rate. My thing is that with Michigan, they just haven't done anything. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of inflation with them. Like, they haven't played anyone. It's like they meet the eye test, but I do believe they are the most talented team in the country. But I think they go in, struggle in the beginning, but find it in the second half and get it done. I think they win probably 21-18.
I like
Okay.
that. And just to back off that, like I said with Ole Miss, Penn State has one loss, playing with house money right now. This is, again, I wouldn't say it, but it's the Super Bowl. So they're the home, big new kickoff. It's going to be a sold-out crowd. Michigan, like you said, haven't played anyone yet. This is their first field test. And I think Penn State's going to get it done because there's so much surrounding that Michigan program with the sign stealing and yada, yada, yada. Again, house money. I think Penn State pulls this one out, and I cannot wait to just see how it's going to be a low-scoring game, like you said, but I just think house money, Penn State's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I do think there is obviously a lot surrounding the Michigan program, but I just really haven't seen it affecting them as much as I thought like it would. They kind of almost like are acting like oblivious, like, oh, nothing's happening at all. But yeah, definitely interesting to see that. Another matchup that people are looking forward to is obviously Utah and Washington. Washington is number 5 right now. Utah defending Pac-12 champs. So what are y'all expecting out of that one?
I just think that Washington looks great. Their defense needs to fill in a lot, but they did just play USC, and that's another one of the top offenses in the nation. But Penix has got it going on. That offense rolls. They make it look so easy. They are such a good offense that they made USC fire their defensive coordinator. That's just how consistent they were. USC's defense is terrible. It's pretty bad.
He went up more than just that game.
It's pretty bad, but I mean that was just the cherry on top. But Utah, they're super surprising, and I wouldn't put them under the radar. But I think that Washington wins this one. I wouldn't say easily, but I'd say by probably like around 10.
I think people expect it to be, probably like a 2-score game that Washington pulls out. It's going to be closer, I think, because Utah has one of the best defenses in the Pac-12. They rank 2nd in sacks, and that's going to be one of the main things. If you can get pressure, it's what makes quarterbacks, makes them get nervous. They have to throw the ball out early, and they don't like getting hit. So that's going to be the main key for Utah. But Michael Penix, obviously in the Heisman, I think they still get it done because they got Rome Odunze, James Polk. Those 2 wide receivers are too hard to stop, and that secondary can't stop them with Utah.
100%.
Yeah, I think if the game was at Utah, I think Utah would have a better chance. But I think since it's going to be in Washington, Washington's going to pull it off.
Yeah.
And some people think maybe Washington shouldn't be number 5. They should be in the top 4.
Well,
what do y'all think about that?
They will be once Michigan loses this weekend.
Well, that's a hot take. But I guess we'll have to see about that.
Or maybe they'll bounce in because Georgia loses to Ole Miss. Again, hot takes, but it's just why college football is so much fun. It's because we have games like these that come down like this is such an important week for Michigan and for Georgia, for Ole Miss, for Penn State, because Ole Miss season is not done. It's not done. We're ranked number 9 right now, and yes, Bama is ahead of us in the West. They go to Kentucky this weekend. Not a given win. Kentucky can. It's again. And then they have to go to Auburn in the Iron Bowl. And that is, again, I wouldn't say a 50-50 game, but they have had their fair share losses in Auburn. So that should be super interesting. But I think if we can somehow beat Georgia this weekend, there's a way we backdoor into the playoffs because it'll be Georgia versus Bama in the championship. And if Georgia can beat Bama, I think the resume looks solid where we beat Georgia, Georgia beat Bama. I know we did lose to Bama. But I think if Bama wins out, there's no shot. But if Bama can either lose to Kentucky or Auburn, we can backdoor into the playoffs.
One of the ones that I worry about, though, is Texas if they win out because they have that win over Alabama. So I think that the only thing is that Texas and Alabama. Also, what do you do if you have a one-loss Michigan team who loses to Ohio State and they rank that? It's just we're going to have to see because – is it more of an eye test or is it more of resume? And I believe if we beat Georgia, back-to-back national champions, we should, and win out, we should get in there because it's resume. They need to know that in the college football playoff committee.
Georgia's won 34 straight regular season games. And if we beat them at night in their own house, how do you not? I mean, how can you not?
They haven't lost there since 2019.
And that's crazy. And Lane made such a funny comment in his press conference. He's like, I wish I could call the coach who beat him last. But he's on Georgia's coaching staff right now. But it makes for such a fun weekend coming up. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what happens. I really can't.
Don't forget Oregon versus USC.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
is
I
true.
can't wait to see how USC's defense changes and
they might rally around. Hey, look what happened with the Raiders.
Big adjustments.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
But any other teams that y'all are like? For me, it's Florida State. That's my question mark. I don't understand.
The ACC is just not good. The ACC, they don't play anyone.
But it's like, obviously, looking ahead to Florida State, the rest of their schedule, it's very easy, and I do not doubt that they're going to win out. So how does a team like that move out of the top 4 when they're probably going to end up winning out?
Well, we're just going to have to see. I think playing in the Swamp last game, rivalry game at Florida, that's always going to be difficult for them. But we're just going to have to see who makes the ACC championship with them. But if they do, if they did lose in the ACC championship, I don't see now. That's where other things become complicated.
Don't you just wish the 12-team playoff was right now?
Dude,
It makes things so much easier.
Then we'd be right there. We'd be right there.
We wouldn't even be talking about missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
We'd be like, okay, so who are we going to play?
Just don't get blown out by Georgia.
Yeah.
Just don't get blown out, and we'll be fine. But no, of course, we
Yeah.
have to beat them in their own house at night.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
close.
that's where we want it.
Yeah, right?
Let's go take it
Yeah,
from them.
exactly.
Shock the world.
Exactly.
Shock the world.
Well, it should be interesting to see how the game goes this weekend, but we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're talking about the Rebel men's and women's basketball team.
Ole Miss 18th NCAA tournament appearance.
This is fun, folks.
As Baker's peeling it, little heat check.
Snow Collins for 3. Bring it up.
Said, I love Madison Scott.
Ole Miss Rebels are having a lot of fun, and you can see why.
My passion is journalism. Here at the University of Mississippi, we produce a nightly half-hour newscast, broadcasting regionally on cable and globally on the World Wide Web. It's the kind of experience that is preparing me to walk into any news station in the country with the skills and abilities I need to succeed. So it's not just preparing me for the real world, it is the real world.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. The Ole Miss men's and women's basketball teams officially started this past week. They both got wins, the women over Queens in a pretty dominant win, and then the men over Alabama State, more of a closer win. But starting things off with the women, they came in preseason ranked number 12, and they kind of proved that ranking in this game, wouldn't y'all say?
100%. And yeah, like you said, ranked number 12. It's so good to see because every year they get better. They made March Madness, and then the next year they went to the Sweet 16. So it's just like, what's next? What is to come? And it shows they're playing. They're having fun. Like I was watching that game versus Queens. It was Kids Day. That was so fun. Listen to like 500 little kids screaming during the free throws. It was so funny. But when you look at the stats, 17 points from Snoota Collins, 15 points from Madison Scott. They make it look easy. And what I kind of like is Madison Scott shooting more threes. She's only made like 2 threes in her first couple years, but she started to air it out more. And that's what I feel like Coach O is just giving them more confidence to do things that they can do that they didn't believe in before. So it's just so much fun to watch. And yeah, they killed Queens 91-44. It's a great win. But tonight they play Oklahoma in what should be their first real test of the year. And although Oklahoma's not ranked, they're still a Power 5 team. and they're a big name, and they're going to be joining the SEC soon. So I cannot wait to see how just Coach Yo attacks, and I hope there's a good crowd. I think there should be a good crowd for that
definitely
game.
an early test too early on in the season,
Big
which
time.
I like.
Yeah, Coach Yo calling it Team 49. I think they're going to do great, but this is a great time for them. Start off the season hot, get the ball rolling. Let's get out there with the right foot. But with men's basketball, obviously, year one, game one, Coach Beard, highest attendance rate since 2019. So shout out the fans.
Yeah, student section was packed.
Yeah, the UM club was amazing. The Red Club. And so, obviously, they're going to cheer on their guys, such as Matthew Murray. Thank you for coming back. He obviously was in double figures, had 16 points, 9 rebounds. But also, I want to talk about Alan Flanagan. He looked amazing. First time in his Rebs uniform, notched double-double. He had 15 points and 12 boards. Did great. And the defense, that's what is going to be main for Coach Beard. Defense, defense, defense. They held... I forgot who we played. Sorry.
Alabama State.
Alabama State.
Come on now, obviously.
First game.
Alabama State Hornets. Are you kidding me?
No, but they held him to 28% field goal shooting, which is the lowest in a game since 2015. So it's awesome to see. But it's going to take time for this team to gel. New guys. It's just going to take time to also know the system, the way that Beard coaches in game. It's not practice. It's not scrimmages. So we're going to do well.
And one thing about Chris Beard that's nothing to do with the actual basketball team is his presence in Oxford. Every game
he is everywhere.
He's number one. He's everywhere. His players are everywhere. He does. If he's starting a new tradition that everyone in the student section gets a photo on court with him after the game. I think it's super cool. And what I saw the Instagram just posted was the first 3 fans that showed up to this. Like the Instagram posted find these 3 people right now, and they got a whole photo with the team. And it just shows, he's a basketball coach, but he cares about Ole Miss. He cares about. He always says this town has been waiting for a basketball team, and that's all I want to do is just give this town some sort of hope. And game one, and not even that we're 1-0. It's that he's making such a big impact.
It's the future.
Oh my God!
And he loves it here. He said that he doesn't see anywhere else than being in Oxford. He said he loves what football's got going on, loves what Coach Yo has going on. Baseball's going to be in the spring.
Yeah.
He just loves the environment right now.
He wants something for himself, too.
He likes it, and he's going to build it.
And I'm a senior here, and I have gone 3 seasons with 25% capacity.
A non-existent team.
I can't wait to see the first SEC game. I just want to see fans in the upper deck. It's always lower bowl fans. And you see fans up there, but they just sneak on those stairs and get up there. I just want to see. Give me a 75% capacity, 80. If all goes right and this team keeps rolling, there's no reason. Baseball sells out, football sells out. Women's basketball sold out in big games last year. So there's no reason why Chris Beard can't get this team, can't just get the fans to buy in. I think he already has.
He is. I think he is, and he's got it down to a T. He knows how to, he knows how to showcase his team, share what goes on, the personality. So I think he's going to slowly see more and more fans fall in love with the personality of this team.
Especially when he makes the relationships within the community, that gets more people to get back behind him,
of course.
and then it's just a domino effect.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the NFL.
The dynamic freshman is starting to make his impact.
Dagger with the shot clock down to 1. That 3-ball drops for Jamin Brakefield.
Fagan from the corner with a triple. Farrell for 3, and that's a big response. 3-ball, yes. Miss shooting lights out of the pavilion.
And give him one more.
Wow. Well, you can't teach that. Well, that should give Ole Miss a boost.
Creating a legacy takes time, takes dedication, spirit, and a greater vision. That vision starts here at the University of Mississippi. What will you be remembered by? your character, your contributions, your friendship. Your legacy will define who we are now and who we are becoming for our state, our students, and our future. Ole Miss, build your legacy.
We are rebels. For more than 160 years, we've been accomplishing the impossible, from conducting the world's first lung transplant to helping prove Einstein was right. From preserving the past to saving the future. We are Mississippi's flagship university, a place where passion and learning unite, where friends become family, where small-town charm meets world-class innovation. We are the University of Mississippi. We are Ole Miss.
Welcome back to Rebel Watch. Well, we're now at the midway point, sort of in the NFL season. We can kind of get a good feel of what we're getting from each team. You know, the usuals look good, the Eagles, the Chiefs, but who are y'all kind of looking at right now?
The Ravens. Obviously, the Ravens have been able to just, play very well. Other team that, kind of flown under the radar, the Jaguars. The Jaguars are 6-2. People don't really talk about them. Also, the Lions. The Lions are playing well. But still, I believe that, best, defense wins championships. And I believe the Cleveland Browns are playing very well. The Cleveland Browns. And I will go into the AFC North as like the hardest division in NFL right now. So it's just going to be interesting how they play out. Who do you think are the strongest teams?
It's the classic, the Eagles and the Chiefs, because they were in the Super Bowl last year, and they have Mahomes, and then they're Jalen Hurts. But like just to top of what you said, Ravens, Lions. Like I love seeing teams that have. The Ravens have been solid, but the Lions have just been the laughingstock of the league forever. And now they're just like can't miss football. Hutchinson looks great on the defense. He just has fun out there. And they got Jared Goff, who people have talked crap about forever. He's like, oh, he's not that good. He got carried to that Super Bowl with the Rams. He looks good. And he's got running backs. He's got weapons. The Lions don't mess with them. And it's just defense wins championships, and the defense is good. Ravens defense is so solid, and with J.K. Dobbins going down, Gus Edwards has just stepped up. And it's not even that Gus Edwards get running; their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I feel bad for their line because there's going to be holding calls. He's running this way and he's running that way, and it's like, who am I blocking now? But I just love seeing teams you wouldn't expect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Lions.
Good to see other people in the mix.
100%, and it's like I'm sick of the Eagles. I'm sick of the Chiefs. You guys had your fun. Let's move on. I can't wait to see. And even with the 49ers, they've lost 3 straight. Deebo Samuel's been out, but their defensive line was the best in the league, and they just got even better with Chase Young. And it's just defense with championships. And that's why I just think that the Niners, Brock Purdy's not good, but I think he'll figure it out once Deebo comes back.
Yeah. Well, who are y'all picking for your early Super Bowl matchup?
As of right now, coming out the AFC, I got the Cleveland Browns, and out of the NFC, who we were just talking about, the Detroit Lions. So
I like that. How about you?
I'm going with the Eagles because I just don't see them losing really. And then I'm gonna go the Bengals, but for now, that one can change.
They're getting hot.
Yeah, they are.
They're getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, Joe Burrow always starts slow.
Exactly, and I got the Niners versus the Ravens. Deebo will be back. Their defense is stacked, and it got even more stacked. And the Ravens, Odell Beckham finally got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've been waiting for
birthday.
it. Been waiting for it. It's just, and like I said, they're having fun. They're having fun, and their fans have been waiting for an actual Super Bowl contender. They're always on the edge of the playoffs or in the playoffs kind of team. But the way they've just been dominating teams this year, it's like Lamar is just scary.
Speaking of fans, a team not really going for the Super Bowl, but can we talk about what C.J. Stroud is doing in Houston?
Yeah, it kind of wild. As a Houston fan, for there to be nothing happening for seasons, see that kind of blew my mind. Kind of blew my mind.
You love to see 470 yards, most as
5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns, it's ridiculous. Against a Bucs defense, that's not bad.
Not bad.
The Bucs defense is not bad. And one more thing, as all you Jets fans out there, Rodgers will be back. If they can somehow be in a playoff spot or close to a playoff spot by week 15 when Rodgers comes back, you look at the game a couple days ago versus the Chargers. The Jets lose when Zach Wilson turns the ball over, and the defense is so good that you have a terrible defense, but a terrible offense, but such a good defense. In order to see, that's why Rodgers, you see him like on the sidelines, he just like looks in pain. He's like, man, I just want to be out there, and he's like he's a robot. He's like doing all kind of crazy stuff. He flies out to California like a couple of times a week just to get rehab. But yeah, I just love seeing there's so many stories developing throughout this year, and I just can't wait to see what the script has in store.
Yeah, will definitely be interesting to see how everything ends up. But that's all we have for tonight. Be sure to tune in next week for Rebel Watch again, and be sure to follow us at Rebel_Watch for the latest sports updates. Thank you and good night.